Week 3 is upon us. It's a beautiful Thursday afternoon. We have our very special guest, Week 3 picker for us today. And, I mean, what better way to just keep rolling in with, college football with special writers like Brad Crawford. I mean, I've been hyping it up for a little bit, so bear with me for my excitement, all right? I'm just letting you guys know now. Welcome to Pigskin Frenzy on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris, and whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, listening on Apple or Podbean, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me and Brad Crawford himself. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple. Just share around with others and follow on there as well. X and Instagram's at Pigskin_Frenzy. You also have the website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. Guys, we are ready to rock and roll. I mean, 5,300 listeners for this show. We're so thankful for you guys. And we couldn't not only do this show without you guys, but our Lord and Savior Jesus. Without him, we wouldn't be here, man. And we're so thankful to have him. We're so blessed by him to be doing Pigskin Frenzy and to be in sports media. We love him and we praise him across all platforms without a doubt. Ladies and gentlemen, very special guest. He's our Week 3 guest picker. He's from CBS Sports. He's from 24/7 Sports. College football writer, Brad Crawford. Brad, how are you doing, man?
Joe, I appreciate you having me on, man. Been looking forward to this pod, especially it's faith-based as well. You don't find that much in sports media, and I love your clarity there. That's an awesome lead-in. I'm just excited, man. It's Week 3 of college football. I'm 14-6 on my best bet so far, so it's been a good start to the season, and I feel like I'm getting a pretty good handle on some of these national title contenders as we approach third weekend.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about some college football here in a little bit. And you were mentioning 14-6 on your best bets. Hopefully, me and you this week go 4-0. I mean, hopefully we just get a clean sweep. I mean, I had Jackson Groff on from the Volume last week, and we went 3-1. We had one game wrong, and that was the Florida game. We'll talk about Florida here in a little bit. But besides college football and writing, what is your life outside of football and media like? I ask a lot of people this, but I'm just curious, who is Brad Crawford is not being the college football writer?
Yeah, a day in the life of me, man, outside of football, it revolves around my wife and our 3 daughters. We've got a 9-year-old, 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old. It is a busy Crawford house. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. We homeschool our 3 girls. Play a lot of pickleball. I picked up pickleball about 2 years ago. I play in tournaments on off-season weekends. Obviously, September through January kind of keeps me busy during the weekend of college football season, and then lastly, assisting with our men's ministry at church. We are in a big church, started locally in about 2016 with about a dozen men. Now every Wednesday night and Saturday morning we have over 100. So pretty awesome, man, leading the men's ministry here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, as well as covering college football for CBS Sports.
Absolutely, man. Talk about pickleball a little bit before we get into more what made you fall in love with the sport of college football. Pickleball is a sport that, I mean, my friends have played it. My sister and her fiance play it. Shout out to my sister, by the way. Happy birthday to her. It's her birthday. So, literally, they play it. They play that sport. They play it a lot. They've told me to play it and get into it. I haven't really gotten into it. Should I play it?
Yes, it's so addictive. A common misconception about pickleball is it's for the elderly. And it's not, man. I mean, you reach cardio zone 3 and 4 for hours upon end if you play. I play a lot of pickleball singles. It's very similar to tennis, a lot of running, but the court's smaller. My 70-year-old dad is nationally ranked in pickleball. He loves the sport, former tennis player. So, yeah, it's in my blood, sort of. I'm kind of mad at 38 years old. I'm just now picking it up, but pickleball is growing, and I really hope one day CBS covers it from a national perspective.
Absolutely. That sounds fun because I never really played pickleball,
Me
right?
too.
So that and golf. I mean, Tom Fornelli, shout out to Tom Fornelli. He was on for our Week 0 pick with Iowa State and Kansas State. He talked about golf and how he played a lot of golf. Is golf, have you played golf a little bit or no?
I've got a ton of friends, and I live near a country club, but I do not play golf. We had a charity golf tournament about 2 weeks ago at the church, and I actually ran the snack cart for 5 hours for 60 teams. So, yeah, I devoted my time to staying off the links, man.
I mean, for golf, for me, man, I don't know. I haven't really played golf either, so I really need to get in. I need to get out and play some of these
Get
sports like
outside,
this,
yeah,
man.
yeah, get outside.
Yeah, get outside and play some pickleball, play some golf. I don't know, just try my hand at some of this stuff, man. What makes you fall in love with college football? Just getting into this and just talking about, because you love writing it. Guys, go read Brad Crawford's work on CBS Sports. He does a fantastic job for CBS Sports writing about college football. His takes, his stories, his articles are second to none in this business. So go read Brad Crawford's stuff. What made you fall in love with college football and just getting into this business?
Yeah, I remember distinctly two parts of my childhood, Joel, that sort of introduced me to the game. My father and my granddad were both University of South Carolina graduates, so I've sort of been around the Gamecocks and SEC football my whole life. And then growing up locally here in North Carolina, my best friend's father was a high school football coach. And him and I used to run the sidelines together on Friday nights. And then Saturday mornings, we would go to an NC State or UNC football game because, high school coaches in the state, they have recruits and players who get tickets. So I got to see a lot of ACC football growing up too. So my own father, my best friend and his dad, we all were just kind of a big old college football group. And then that sort of encouraged me to pursue journalism as a career in college.
Oh, man, that's unique, especially for me. For someone like me, I went to Mississippi College. So pursuing stuff like, sports media with a minor in business, like within this, is pretty unique. So same trajectory, I guess, but it's unique. So that's awesome. Very cool. And ACC football, too. I mean, ACC football right now, it's okay. I mean, it's not like, let me just say it like this in a nice term for ACC football. It's not as bad as people expect this season right now, right? There's a lot of good teams at the ACC.
Yeah, I was in Chapel Hill. I was in Chapel Hill last week, and I've been to a lot of UNC home games, but nothing compared to the atmosphere of Bill Belichick's debut. I know it didn't go well the last 58 minutes of the game, but for Kenan Stadium to be sold out and that be a lively crowd there in Chapel Hill, it's a unique atmosphere, and it was a good look for the ACC.
Absolutely, for sure. Let's talk about your ranking reactions. I know we're going to get into college football here now, so let's talk about your ranking reactions and let's, talk about some of your opinions on what transpired in the rankings. Do you have any disagreements with the top 3 or top 5?
No disagreements. I think the big surprise for me is Florida State is a top 15 team right now. I never saw that smackdown of Alabama coming. Alabama is the only team right now that I had in my preseason playoff projection that I'm pretty confident will not be there at season's end. Arch Manning maybe hasn't looked as good as I thought he would. LSU's defense, maybe it's a little bit better than I thought it would be. But right now, through the first 2 weekends of college football, pretty much everything's chalk except for Alabama getting just pounded by Florida State, and Florida State being 2-0 with Gus Malzahn calling the plays.
Florida State looks really, really good. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. We could talk about a long time about Florida State, man. Florida State and that showdown with Miami is coming up in a few weeks, and we're looking forward to that one, honestly. That may be a Pigskin Frenzy game, honestly. So we may make that one a game. I think that what really kind of is unique, and not really a surprise because they've earned it, but I'm so not used to seeing Illinois in there at number 9. I think Illinois at 9 to me is unique because we're not used to seeing Illinois, like, especially in football, in the top 10. So I think so far to me, that's sort of a surprise. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, 16 starters back. I think a lot of us assumed Illinois would be a top 20-ish team, beating South Carolina in a bowl game to win their 10th game of the year to end the 2024 season. That was huge for Brett Bielema's ball club. And they've shown it these first 2 weeks. Luke Altmaier, I think he has 6 touchdown passes, no picks so far. That game at Durham, at Duke over the weekend, it could have been a loss for Illinois, but they really played well in the second half and beat a team that I think should challenge for 7 or 8 wins in the ACC. So Illinois is sort of in that second tier of Big Ten teams once you get past Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon. Illinois right now probably the 4th best team in the Big Ten.
I believe that too. Yeah, I believe that. I think they're going to compete. Yeah. I really do. They have Ohio State at home. That's going to be an interesting game. They have Indiana coming up next week, week 4, in Bloomington. We're going to see how that one goes as well. I favor Illinois early on. I'm not going to say anything yet because that could be a Pigskin Frenzy game also, but we'll see. What about Clemson's start? I know we're going to talk about Clemson here in a little bit with the Georgia Tech game. That's our Week 3 game. But let's talk about Clemson a little bit. How do you feel about them starting out so far and their ranking at 12?
Yeah, I think the loss of Phil Maffa, the leading rusher from last year's team, maybe is a bigger issue personnel-wise than we once thought. Adam Randall had 100 yards against Troy over the weekend, but Clemson was down 16 points in that game at home as a 4-touchdown favorite. And we don't see that much out of Dabo's group in week 2. Cade Klubnik, one of the top players in the country, I thought coming into the season, he has not looked the part, man, through the first 2 weeks. Couple picks, had a pick 6 against Troy, did not look all that great on third down against LSU. So Cade's got to pick it up, and I think Dabo knows that. Second-year starter at quarterback, Garrett Riley now third year as OC. Clemson's a team I thought would be the ACC favorite right now, but I think it's Miami and maybe even Florida State I'd power rank ahead of the Tigers at this time.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think a lot of it was funny because my dad he was calling me the other day and he was like, "Man, I got to tell you, Florida State," and he's a Bama fan, so shout out to my dad. He's an Alabama fan. Florida State. He said Florida State's a team I would watch out for the ACC. It's looking like they're probably going to be the team to beat, especially with Gus Malzahn calling the plays. A couple of more, and we're going to get to South Florida here in a little bit. I'll end with that one. Is there any surprise to me, like 25 through maybe 13, those slots? Would you have put any teams higher, you believe?
I know we're going to get to South Florida, but for them to have beaten 2 top 25 teams to start off, only team in college football to have done that, that's been real impressive to me. Some of the teams outside the top 25, I thought Florida would be 2-0 right now. DJ Lagway, we're seeing now, since he didn't practice hardly at all during the spring, didn't throw much during fall camp, now we know why. Maybe he is injured. He didn't look all that great the first 2 weeks. So Billy Napier undoubtedly is on one of the SEC's hottest seats. I think you can pretty much say Brent Pry at Virginia Tech. He's 0-2 now, losing to South Carolina and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's a team, by the way, that I think should be ranked. And if they beat South Carolina Saturday night in Columbia, they certainly will be ranked in week 4.
As far as I know, you can correct me on this, Brad Crawford, Diego Pavia is the highest graded quarterback right now. Am I correct on that? I may be wrong. I thought he was in completions. At least he may be the highest graded quarterback.
He may have the best QBR in the SEC.
QBR, yeah. I think that's what it is. The best QBR in the SEC right now. I thought it was in college football. I may be wrong. I might have to look that up, but I thought it was in college football. Diego Pavia, man, that's going to be an underrated football game. Vanderbilt and South Carolina. That's going to be a very underrated game coming Saturday.
Gamecocks have won 16 straight in the series, but this is the first time, I think, in 5 or 6 years that Vanderbilt could go into Williams-Brice Stadium and win. The line's only like 4.5 points. Gamecocks have not looked good along the O-line. And we saw last week Vanderbilt outscored Virginia Tech 34 points in the second half. And that was at Lane Stadium at night, another tough venue in the ACC. So Clark Lee has it going right now, man. And I know Pavia and the Commodores are pretty confident heading into a Lions den that is South Carolina.
And another ranking reaction for you, too. A lot of people that are really not talking about them, even though there's 2 weeks into the season. Missouri. And I'm so high on Missouri right now. I mean, I added it up on my calculator. I think total yardage for offense is about 1,155 total yards of offense in the first 2 weeks.
2 100-yard rushers against Kansas. That's what impressed me. Like, we knew Ahmad Hardy was good out of ULM, getting him in the portal, but now they have another kid back there who had a 100-yard game. Bo Pribula from Penn State, the backup to Drew Aller last year. He's looked good the first 2 starts. Now there's a little bit of depth issues behind him. If Bo gets hurt, they don't have Sam Horn. He's out for the year with an injury. So they need to absorb some of those hits on Bo early. And they got South Carolina the week after next. So a bunch of big games coming up from Missouri. And they host Alabama here in a few weeks too.
Yeah, they do. And Bo Pribula, a lot of people were questioning whether he can throw the football, and he's just a running quarterback. Man, he is sure showing a lot of people that he can throw the football. I mean, and he's leaning on those 2 running backs, Jamal Roberts and Ahmad Hardy. I'd watch out for Missouri. One more really, really quick, Auburn. Let's talk about Auburn just for a second. Auburn's a very unique case. We mentioned Auburn earlier, but Auburn is a good team. They see so far, at least in the first 2 weeks. Now, defensively, at first in Baylor, there was a little bit of question marks defensively. They played Ball State, had a good showing, but What do you think about Auburn so
I
far?
think Auburn has the look of maybe an 8-4 type team, as long as Jackson Arnold keeps his head on straight and doesn't start turning it over. In week 1 we didn't see him utilize his arm too much, and that worried me a little bit. And week 2 against Ball State had a couple touchdown passes, really nice throws. Cam Coleman, former 5-star wideout, he got in the end zone. So Auburn has dudes, man, but their schedule is pretty brutal as well. Oklahoma had one of the toughest schedules in the SEC. Auburn's is pretty darn crazy as well. So Hugh Freeze, another one of those guys entering the season on a little bit of a hot seat, back-to-back losing seasons on the Plains. He needs to win 8 this year to keep his job, and I think it happens.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying too. I was saying 8 to 9 wins. I believe that he really needs that. So, yeah, very good on Auburn. I mean, Auburn they have a tough game coming up next week, week 4 against OU in Norman. Jackson Arnold facing his former team. That may be another pigskin game too. I'm just naming up a bunch of games that I could do for next week. So let's talk about really quick, moving away from the ranking reactions. Who's on upset alert for week 3 in your mind?
Yeah, I think definitely Arkansas Ole Miss is a game that I'm looking at that I may pick Arkansas to beat Ole Miss outright. Austin Simmons, he's not all there yet as Ole Miss's starter. Has, I think, 4 interceptions, 2 in back-to-back weeks. And then Taylon Green, man, he's the best player in the country that no one is talking about right now. He's running by Petrino's offense with fluidity. Ole Miss right now last in the SEC in rushing. Arkansas, I think, is number 2 in rushing. That could be a game that gets interesting in Oxford. And then staying in the SEC, I think Vanderbilt has a legitimate shot of going into South Carolina and beating Shane Beamer's Gamecocks. So that's 2 games. I think the road team, at least in one of those 2 efforts, goes and posts a win.
You're probably going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but let's just say it, man. USF and Miami. I mean, we all thought that South Florida wouldn't have been beaten Florida.
This is the weekend where the kingdom might fall down on USF. Yeah, it's tough because if the line was over 17, I'd feel really good about the Bulls covering. But now that it got under that number, now it's like, oh man, if Carson Beck plays as well as he has these first 2 weeks, it's going to be hard for USF to keep up. The Bulls have given up a ton of yards, but they have not given up a ton of points. Played good against Boise State and went and beat Florida on the road. But the good news for Alex Golesh's team, even if they lose at Miami in a big way Saturday, if they win the American, I think they have solidified that G5 playoff spot.
Yeah, and I was going to say that as well. They may have to get by a Tulane team in the American Conference Championship. I think they're really only tough opponent on their schedule from what I looked previously. I got to look again.
Yeah, at Memphis, yep.
And I think that's really it. And that could give them a leadway into the American Conference Championship if they can get by Memphis. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a crime so far. And I said this the other day on Tuesday, it's a crime that USF is at 18. I think they should be at least at 11, maybe. I think that'd be a good ranking as well. I mean, I know
polls are based on your resume so far. Nobody's resume looks better right now than USF's.
Absolutely. I know it's only week 3, but if we're talking about week 3 rankings, nobody looks better than USF resume wise. So that's a really good point. I'm going to go with that for my upset alert. I have one more. It is a pigskin game, and it's Clemson and GT. I think if Clemson gets off to a slow start, this is not me picking the game yet. I'm just going to pump the brakes. I think if Clemson gets off to a slow start, like they have with Troy last week in Atlanta, I think Georgia Tech could probably sneak them.
Well, the good news is if you're a Clemson backer in this game, Dabo Swinney does own the Yellow Jackets. They've averaged, I think, like 41.5 points a game the last 4 meetings against them. Now, 2 of those games were with Trevor Lawrence, at quarterback. And Cade Klubnik ain't Trevor Lawrence. But This is a game that you're right. On the road, it's a danger zone. The line is small for a reason. Not a lot of respect on the Clemson side right now. So Clemson cannot afford to start 1-2, by the way. And if they start, this ACC slate with a loss, then maybe Florida State, Miami are pretty much simulating the rest of the year, and they'll play in Charlotte.
I mean, I'm trying to think of other more games. I would say probably the best bet for an upset could be Arkansas Ole Miss, like you said. I agree with that take. I think that Arkansas with Taylon Green, they look really good. Austin Simmons is questionable. A lot of people were to me, and I said this before the season started, in my preseason conference standing projections for the SEC, I had Ole Miss ninth. Only reason why I said they were ninth is because I just don't know how they're going to be with Austin Simmons at quarterback, full season starting out. Even though he looked good in some of those games last year, he's starting his first full season, right? So we don't know how he's going to look. Right now, I mean, 4 interceptions on the season so far is not a really good look, but I like that you said Arkansas and Ole Miss.
Yeah, not to mention, Ole Miss defense has 8 new starters. They've given up some
Yeah.
plays. Keywan Lacey at running back, he's looked good so far. So maybe Saturday, Lane Kiffin leans on him a little bit.
Not a pigskin game, but we're going to go with it. So we're going to just do 2 nuggets here. Arkansas, Ole Miss, USF, Miami. Who do you got in those games?
Yeah, I'm taking Arkansas plus 8.5. That's the line right now for that game. I feel good about Arkansas's chances to win outright, but I'm definitely taking the points. And I think Miami is going to lay a crooked number on USF. And Carson Beck's going to jump into the Heisman race, and Miami's going to be a top 5 team by the time week 2 is over.
Do you favor Miami right now in the ACC race?
Yeah, Miami was my preseason pick to get to the playoff in the ACC along with Clemson, and I feel pretty good about that right now. Florida State still has to show me just a little bit more. I'm not convinced that Tommy Castellanos is an all-ACC quarterback. Now, 2 weeks into the season, he has looked darn good, but there's some games coming up against Clemson, coming up against Miami, road game I think against a Louisville team that's pretty good under Jeff Brom. Those are games Florida State could lose. So it's safe to buy stock right now in Mike Norvell. I just wouldn't buy it at a high price.
Absolutely. Yeah, I understand. I'm going to go with Miami as well. I think Miami will end the terror, I guess, the 2-week terror of South Florida. But I think South Florida may make it competitive at first, and then Miami will run away with it. I just like Alex Golish's team and the mentality that he is bringing in for South Florida, honestly. And honestly, I will go with Ole Miss, but it's going to be very close. I think Quan Lacey with a running game, I will lean towards them, but I also would not be surprised if Ole Miss does lose that game.
USF is playing
If that
with
makes
house
sense.
money at Miami too. Like Alex Golesh knows that a loss Saturday doesn't mean a whole lot for his team. Now a win, then they can have some kind of breathing room in the American. There's a scenario, man, and I kind of laid it out today in one of my bowl protection articles. If USF goes to Miami and wins, but fails to win the American, we could see 2 G5 playoff bids for the first time. And that would just cause complete chaos in December.
Really quick, because now that you mentioned that, because that's a good follow-up for me, who would you pick besides South Florida as a G5 representative for the college football
So
playoff?
before the season started, Navy was my pick. I was the only national guy across multiple organizations to go with Navy as a G5. Boise State was a sexy pick. Tulane was a pick everybody liked. I think right now, seeing the teams play, Navy's not quite as good as I thought they'd be, but they still have a chance to win the American. And if it happens, then they would certainly be in the playoff. But Navy has Notre Dame in a couple of weeks too, and that's a huge game that nobody's talking about. So Navy, Tulane, and USF. I think the G5 playoff representative will come out of one of those 3 teams.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I think probably South Florida, Tulane. Navy is a good pick. I heard a little bit about Navy during the offseason. They're bringing back a lot of their guys. Blake Horvath back at quarterback for them. I think that Navy is a very unique pick, and honestly, later in the year, maybe we hear a little bit more about Navy. Who knows? So that's very interesting. Right now, South Florida's got a lot of fire under them. So we'll see what happens there. But let's kick it off with our group with our week 3 preview predictions. He's our guest picker. We are thankful that Brad Crawford stopped by to talk some college football, talk about his life outside of football media. But week 3 preview predictions here for Pigskin Frenzy. Our games. Here we go. Our guest picker. Starting off with the ACC, Clemson at Georgia Tech. As far as I know, with this one, I think Clemson is a 6.5 touchdown favorite, I believe. Or is it higher?
It's 4.5 now. This
Four
game
and a half.
opened around 8 and has been bet down to 4.5. This is my favorite play of the week. I'm going to pound Clemson in this spot. Haynes King's banged up a little bit for Georgia Tech. This is a must-win game for Dabo Swinney, and I just don't see Clemson playing as bad as it has the last 2 weeks. I could be wrong here, but I'm laying the points, and this is my hammer lock. Brad's best bet of the week.
So Brad Crawford picking
Yeah.
Clemson to win this game in Atlanta. Noon Eastern, 11 a.m. kick. I think that's on ESPN, or I think it's on ESPN, I believe, right now. So Clemson, here are my keys for Clemson. I would say don't get off to a slow start. Don't get off to a slow start like you have been. Just start off hot, start off fast, and then I'm pretty sure you'll get the win here. Establish the running game with Adam Randall. I believe that they can move the ball on Georgia Tech's defense. We saw a little bit from Colorado. I think Colorado moved the ball on Georgia Tech a tiny bit. I think Clemson can do it better, especially with Adam Randall. Move the ball a little bit, establish that running game with him. He'll be fine. And you got to figure out a way to slow down Malachi Hosley and Jamal Haynes. I think their dynamic running game at Georgia Tech is really good. I think Clemson has the defense to do it, though. So if they can utilize their defense, wake up a little bit, shake off that Troy rust, shake off that LSU rust, and just slow that running game down, they have a shot. Georgia Tech's keys: establish the running game, obviously. Minimize those penalties, because against Gardner-Webb, 12 penalties for 94 yards is a killer. So slow down those penalties and protect the football. 2 turnovers versus Gardner-Webb. I know it's Gardner-Webb, but still, you're playing Clemson this week. So if you have 2 or even more turnovers against a Clemson team, they may get you, and they may sneak up on you a little bit. So who do I have winning this ball game? I'm going to go with Clemson. I think it's going to be a little bit closer. I think it'll be 3.5. I don't think, or at least 3 points by a field goal at least. I think it's going to be 24-21. Clemson 24, Georgia Tech 21. I think, like you said, Haynes King being banged up concerns me a little bit. I think they're going to need him at least at 85 to 90% in this game. Do I know if he is that? I don't know. And it's kind of hard to say. Clemson gets the win by a field goal. I'm really high on Clemson still, even though they had a slow start, and I was worried about them Saturday. I think they get the win over Georgia Tech. So let's move on. Florida at LSU. I think that's a very interesting ball game. 2 teams. And I'm going to laugh at this one because both of them, and you're going to think I'm crazy for saying this, even though LSU's 2-0, didn't really look good offensively. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think the line right now is 9.5. I don't know if it's moved up to 10 or not. LSU is, I wouldn't be surprised by Saturday if it does move up to 10. But where are you seeing this, Florida and LSU, and who do you got? What's your analysis on this game?
This is where we know if Billy Napier's for real or not this season. You know, if he goes into Baton Rouge and they lay an egg and LSU blows Florida out, this is probably his last season in Gainesville. And I think Billy Napier knows that, as does his staff. DJ Lagway has to play better. They got to do a better job of protecting DJ Lagway. Good news for Florida is LSU has had no running game. Outside of like a 25-yard run against Clemson, they struggled in that opener. They scored 17 points and didn't look all that great against Louisiana Tech either. Now, that being said, it's hard to get up for Louisiana Tech versus an LSU-Florida matchup. I don't think Brian Kelly will have any issues motivating his players Saturday night. So I like LSU to win the game, but this rivalry is always close. I think Florida's a better football team than what they showed against USF. I would take Florida and 9.5 points, but I think it'll be competitive, like a 31-24 LSU win.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I think Florida covers. So in your opinion, Florida covers and the LSU wins. So that's good. Yeah, I think LSU defensively is looking so good. They look really good. I think the keys for Florida for me are you got to minimize those penalties. 11 penalties for 103 yards. It's a lot.
Undisciplined. That was
that's undisciplined. They did not show
They had a player spit Saturday night. I mean, it's just
Ooh.
Billy Napier is losing control. This weekend is very pivotal toward his future.
Yeah, absolutely. 7:30 Eastern kick on ABC. And Saturday night in Death Valley. That's a key. You got to minimize those penalties, win the line of scrimmage battle. You got to figure out a way to out-physical LSU on the trenches on both D-line and O-line. And LSU's D-line is heavily upgraded from last season. So you get that. You got to win the line of scrimmage. You got to out-physical them, and then you can try to maybe pull off an upset in Death Valley and establish the running game with Jaden Baugh. I think even though LSU's rushing defense currently right now is 7th, I know it's a little bit early because that can all change. It's week 3. But still, top 10 rushing defense so far in college football is pretty solid. You didn't get that last year from LSU. So figure out a way to establish the run game and move the ball on this LSU defense. LSU's keys to me is win the line of scrimmage battle, pressure and get to DJ Lagway. Get to him a little bit, force some pressure, force some turnovers, rattle him a little bit, get some sacks, and I think you'll be good in this ball game. And also, the offense needs to heat up. Honestly, I think for LSU, figure out a way to get that offense to heat up and don't look lethargic in this game. I think against Louisiana Tech, a lot of people are going to sit there and say, okay, Florida going into LSU didn't look good. I'm going to be real, man. LSU didn't look good going into Florida either. So they need to heat up on offense a little bit and dial it up a little bit more. Brian Kelly was not too pleased with his team offensively against Louisiana Tech. Now, defensively, they looked fine, but offensively, they need to get cooked a little bit. And I think the key for both teams is come inspired. I think really just come inspired and play some football. Yeah, just come inspired and play some football. Rivalry game, first SEC opener for both teams. So who do I got winning this ball game? I got LSU. I think LSU wins. I think it will be a 35-21 win, honestly. I think LSU will find a way to get it done. I think it's 14 points and they cover. I don't know. I think what I saw from Florida scares me a little bit. I think they got to prove me wrong. LSU gets to win 35-21. I just believe in LSU's defense too much in this ball game, and I think LSU's offense will heat up a little bit, especially later in the ball game. So 35-21, LSU gets the win over Florida. Texas A&M and Notre Dame. Interesting ball game, especially for Notre Dame, coming off of a loss to Miami. He had a bye week last week. C.J. Carr in his first home start, and he's playing Texas A&M, a team that is pretty solid so far in the past couple of weeks, playing inspired football after, Utah State. Started off a little bit slow against, Texas San Antonio, but played well against Utah State. Going into South Bend, very interesting game there. I think they're a 6.5-point underdog, A&M is. Tell us about that game. Who do you got, and what's your analysis on this game?
One of my features for CBS Sports this week is calling this one a must-win for Marcus Freeman. I don't use that term lightly in Week 3. In the expanded playoff era, must-wins, they don't happen a lot because you can lose 2 games, still make the playoff. But here's the deal. If Notre Dame starts 0-2, there's not a single other opponent on the schedule that's currently ranked inside the top 25. And that's not good for Notre Dame if they intend on getting back to the playoff and potentially meeting Ohio State again in the finale. So open date for Notre Dame. I think they licked their wounds a little bit from that opening loss to Miami. They had some giveaway issues. They didn't look good on either side of the line of scrimmage. Jeremiah Love was not force-fed like a Heisman candidate should be force-fed out of the backfield. I think that changes Saturday. Notre Dame's a pretty good football team at home, elite at home for the most part against ranked teams. They beat Texas A&M last season. And then Marcel Reed took a hard fall in the second half against Utah State. He's fine, but Notre Dame can tackle pretty well. And if they get to him early, that's going to be a tough ask. So I think Notre Dame bounces back. I've got Notre Dame winning this game by at least a touchdown, and that's probably one of my second favorite bets of the week. So I've got Clemson as my best bet, and Notre Dame's pretty close to that as well.
That's a good one. I think it's going to be a tough environment. Game on NBC and Peacock, home game, Notre Dame's going to be a loud atmosphere in South Bend. I'm about 2.5 hours, south from South Bend, so I'm pretty close. Maybe I should go drive up there and go see that game. Texas A&M keys for me: start off fast with Marcel Reed, get going on offense quick, and get that catch that defense on its heels a little bit. You got to win the line of scrimmage battle as well. Try to be as physical or out physical Notre Dame, which is going to be tough because Notre Dame's a physical football team. And I think pressure and get to C.J. Carr. Try to figure out a way to sack him, get to him, rattle him. It's his first home start, his second career start against, as a true redshirt freshman. Going to be tough, man. It's going to be really, really tough, especially if we could play in Miami and then A&M. That's a tough ask for C.J. Carr starting out. But C.J. Carr, to me, made some good plays, even though they ended up, he turning the ball over in some ways, intentional grounding in some. He still made some good plays in that Miami game. So it could go either way, honestly. But for Notre Dame, win the line of scrimmage battle and get Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price cooking. That's another key for me. They got to get the running game going. I think if you get the running game going, that should be good for them, and they can lean on that and win the ball game that way as well. Protect the football. 2 turnovers versus Miami. Texas A&M, they are going to try to figure out a way to get some of those turnovers and snag and force some of those turnovers, especially with a redshirt freshman in C.J. Carr. I think that for Texas A&M, they need to try to find a way to get those turnovers and figure out a way to let C.J. Carr get rattled a little bit. That's the most important key for Texas A&M in this ball game. Who do I have winning this game? I think it's going to be close. I think Jeremiah Love will get the running game going a little bit. Price will get the running game going a little bit. I don't know, man. I just have a feeling that Texas A&M is going to figure out a way to win this ball game. I'm going to go with the upset. I just feel like Marcel Reed's starting to come in a little bit, get a little bit more confident. He's throwing the ball a little bit better. I'm going to go for the upset here on this one. I'm going to go with Texas A&M beating Notre Dame. I think they get them. When was the last time we seen Notre Dame start 0-2? It's been a hot minute, but let's shoot for it. A&M goes 3-0. A&M gets Notre Dame. I'm going to go with a very close score, though. It's going to be like 31-28. Texas A&M 31, Notre Dame 28, 3-point win, and A&M gets the win and upset over Notre Dame in South Bend on Saturday. Last game, pretty much the game of the week from everybody's ballot, I guess. Georgia at Tennessee, both undefeated. Usually play around November, but they're playing earlier on. They've played it earlier on before, but not much. So it's been unique to see them play, week 3 in the season. But Georgia at Tennessee in Knoxville, it's going to be rocking in Knoxville, Brad. I mean, honestly, Tennessee's starting off pretty hot, too. So let's talk about Tennessee, Georgia. Give me your analysis on the game, and who do you got?
Two primary factors for me that will decide the outcome Saturday afternoon at Neyland Stadium is, can Josh Heupel score on Kirby Smart? He has not been able to during his career. Kirby Smart has not lost to Josh Heupel yet. I don't think Tennessee has scored more than 17 or 20 points against Kirby Smart. It all started back on that, Hail Mary in Athens a long time ago. It wasn't that long ago, several seasons ago. And then you look at Gunnar Stockton at quarterback. Is he a guy for Georgia? Is he a Stetson Bennett type who can lead them a championship, or is he just another quarterback? And we don't know that yet. They have not completed the ball downfield all that much last 2 weeks. Struggled to get some explosive plays last Saturday against Austin Peay. And then, going up against Tennessee in that harsh environment, 108,000 plus. I've been going back and forth with this pick. It's not a game that's going to be on my card. I think it's going to be extremely close. So many people are taking the sexy Tennessee upset pick here. I just got a feeling Georgia's defense might control this game. And maybe they force Joey Aguilar into his first interception of the season. Kirby Smart keeps it going. So I'm going to go with an extremely low-scoring game. Georgia 24, Tennessee 17.
Oh, that's really, really good. Man, now my analysis is going to get better. So Georgia, to me, I think, and you're right, I think they need to control the line of scrimmage. That's the first key for me. They have to control the line of scrimmage, win the line of scrimmage. Just play Georgia ball, man. Play Kirby Smart, physical, smash-mouth football. Absolutely. Just play smash-mouth football. Slow down their running game. They have 505 rushing yards in the first 2 weeks of the season. Tennessee does. Against Syracuse, against East Tennessee State. Slow down their running game, man. I think if you slow that down, which Georgia has the players to do it, they can be fine. Force turnovers against this team. Tennessee had 1 turnover against East Tennessee State and 1 turnover against Syracuse. I know they're both fumbles, but if you can figure out a way to get those turnovers early, that could change the trajectory of this game quick. So I think force those turnovers as well. Tennessee's keys for me, number 1, keep on protecting Joey Aguilar. They're doing really good protecting him. Win the line of scrimmage. They've not allowed sacks so far, as far as I know. So just control the line of scrimmage a little bit. Going to be hard because it's a very physical Georgia team. But keep him protected. And then see how Joey Aguilar does making those throws against a tough Georgia secondary as well. Establish that running game. And then have a fast start if you're Tennessee as well. I think if you have a fast start against this Georgia team, put them on its heels a little bit and shock them and surprise them, and maybe Tennessee can get them and sneak them. So who do I have winning this ball game? I'm going to go cover. I think Tennessee covers. Georgia wins the ball game. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I'm honestly thinking 21-17 maybe. I'm going to go similar as you. Maybe Georgia 21, Tennessee 17. I think Georgia gets off to a good start. Tennessee starts to come back, shows some excitement, but in the end, Georgia shuts them down and gets the win. Georgia 21, Tennessee 17. It's going to be a tough game, though, honestly. I don't know about you. I think out of these 4 games that we picked, Georgia and Tennessee, that one is getting to me a little bit, like feeling wise. I don't know about
Yeah,
you.
that's the hardest one to pick, man. These two teams, based on what our eyes have told us through the first two games for each squad, they're dead even right now.
Absolutely. Brad Crawford, thank you for joining us for Pigskin Frenzy today. Huge honor. Any more final thoughts as we head into week 3?
Yeah, I think your upset pick of USF covering against Miami, I mean, it might have legs. USF is like everybody's favorite team right now. I actually had the Bulls to make the playoff last year at this time. They got elite a year late because Byron Brown got hurt last September. They got blown out by Alabama and Miami, and they didn't make it. So I'm not surprised Alex Golesh has his team clicking, but I am surprised that they've opened with back-to-back really good wins over Boise State and Florida. So that's a team right now that I think has captured America's heart, and I'm looking forward to seeing them play against Miami this weekend.
Absolutely. And imagine this, most likely, who knows, anything can happen, but imagine if South Florida goes into Miami and gets that win.
You've got to put USF in the top 5 then.
Absolutely. I might just go buy a USF Bulls sweatshirt. I may wear it on the show on Tuesday. Who knows, man? Brad, thank you for joining us, man. I really appreciate you coming on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. We are out of time. A big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by us. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple. All you got to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X and Instagram's at Pigskin_Frenzy. Follow me on there for college football takes, crazy takes, and just tweets on games and my opinions and thoughts on games as well. You also have the website www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com for Pigskin Frenzy's website for podcasting. So thank you in general for Brad Crawford for coming in, talking with us about college football and picking these games to be in our Week 3 guest picker. Guys, tomorrow we have a very special Friday edition of the show. We normally don't do Friday editions of the show. We have it tomorrow. We talk with Chris Lowe from On3 Sports. He's going to ask about his, move from On3 to from ESPN to On3, talk about, being in college football media, writing for so long, and talking about who's on Upset Alert for Week 3 in general. Special Friday edition with Chris Lowe. You're not going to want to miss it on all platforms tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We're praying for you all. We love you all. I'm Joel Norris. That's Brad Crawford. We're signing off. For everybody out there, please and always stay the course.